So thank you very much for coming to our session. We have a very good audience today and quite a few people interested in the topic. So my name is Sergey Shvedov, and I'm responsible for Dynamics 365 for operations globalization. Together with me, I have Patrick Jelle, who is our Director of Dynamics International Engineering and Translations. And we have a couple of more people I introduce during the demos they will do later on. So we'll talk today about globalization strategy and roadmap for our product. So for last calendar year, when we shipped Dynamics first AX7 and then it was renamed to Dynamics 365 for operations, we already right now have shipped 34 countries, localization and regulatory requirements for 34 countries. And we have our product available in 41 languages, actually US English as well, in terms of user interface, and we have documentation in 24 different languages. So recently, in the November release, we introduced support for Arabic and RTL support as well. So what is remaining if you compare Dynamics 365 for operations localization with AX 2012 R3, there are basically three main areas. There are some countries where we do additional regulatory requirements for retail. A lot of countries, they are available out of the box. So these countries, these retail localization requirements, we will be shipping during this calendar year. A couple of countries, Sweden and Norway, they're coming this half of the year. And the rest of the country will be available in the second part of this calendar year. Also, India localization, we will be shipping in the second part of this calendar year. Originally, we planned to ship it in the first half, but there is a huge legislation coming in India Goods and Services Tax, which basically it's changed a lot in this localization, so we need to address first in-market version, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, and then ship India. And the remaining country, Russia, we will be shipping during calendar year 2018. Russia has a special law. They require to keep personal data in the country, right? And this is where we rely on on-premise version, right, which probably you heard all about. So this is what also causes some delay for this product. At the same time, during Dynamics 365 for operation development from globalization perspective, we working on the strategy which we can identify in three words, actually making globalization easier. So globalization, regulatory requirements is big and complex. Regulatory requirements actually is 25% of application code of Dynamics 365 for operations. So in addition to this, regulatory requirements are changing very often, depending on the country. So every year we ship about 300 regulatory updates for 36 countries which we support. Another obviously big area is translation, and we support 41 languages. And during the calendar year, we translate for Dynamics 365 for operations, we translate 30 million words. So it's a huge volume. So what we want to do with this strategy, we also want to make maintenance and development of this globalization easier for us, but also easier for our partners who are building solutions for the countries or country regions or industry verticals, or translated into languages where we don't have solutions, right? So, and this strategy has four main components. One is we are making regulatory functionality configurable. Instead of doing this in code, which obviously more complex, more error risky, right? We move it to configuration so business user can do it. The second area, we provide tools for and services for our partners and customers to translate this product into languages we don't translate, or translate their own solutions into our languages and new languages. We also provide discovery and watch services because, there are a lot of functionality and localization, and this functionality is changing. We provide our customers and partners with services so they can easily discover what is available or what is coming, right? And also watch regulatory updates as well. And obviously, we are working with our global ecosystem with ISVs and partners who are providing these regulatory requirements and translation for areas which we don't provide out of the box. So we go through these 4 components in depth, and we will show you some demos, what we have in each of these components. So we start with configurable regulatory functionality. So when we analyzed our regulatory functionality, actually, there are 5 main areas, you can say, where regulatory changes are happening. One is obviously tax, right? It's the biggest area. 40% of all functionality we have are in this area. And the second one is regulatory reporting, different type of reporting, obviously a lot of tax reporting, but also some statistical reporting. A good example, for example, in Europe, we have Intrastat, right? This type of statistical reporting, and also some different financial reporting. Regulatory invoicing and payments, right? There is a lot of countries that are moving into the e-invoicing, right? So this is what we need to support, and we have payment, export, payment import, reconciliation of bank statement, and there are changes in invoice layout and invoice processing as well. And fixed assets, right? There are certain areas which requires regulatory changes there, for example, depreciation, obviously, right? But also there are some changes depending on the country in certain, like when you acquire fixed assets, or when you retire these fixed assets. And there are some other areas, but there are small changes usually in these areas. So what we did, we built 2 engines, configuration tools. One is called generic tax engine, and another one generic electronic reporting, which basically cover 75% of regulatory requirements and make them configurable, right? And another quarter of functionality actually is not either it's country specific or really doesn't change over a period of time, so it doesn't make sense to probably invest into this area and make it configurable. So generic electronic reporting is configuration tool which covers regulatory reporting, electronic, and also paper reporting, and covers payments and electronic invoicing. So it's built on 3 key principles. One, this is what I mentioned already, that we want this configuration should be done not by developer, not by engineer, it should be done by business person. So we have visual designers, and we have like Excel-like formula language, so the business user can do this type of changes. Second principle is one configuration for multiple versions. We have in market already, I think, 5 versions right now. Actually 6, right? We have 4X, X 2009, 3X 2012, right? We have Dynamics or X 7.0 and Dynamics 365 for operations. So we won't save like our time to do just one configuration for this multiple versions, but also partners, right, who are doing this for different regions or customizing our configurations, we won't save their time. So they do it just one place. And the third one, obviously easy and or automatic upgrade. We introduce so-called Delta configuration principle. And with this principle, actually, when partners or customers make some changes on top of our configuration, we make it easier for them to upgrade when we release a new version because of, for example, regulatory changes. So what in terms of JAR functionality or electronic reporting functionality, in the initial release of AX7 last March, we did release this functionality, and we release actually you can configure electronic reports, and you can configure also reports in Excel. And we ship about 50 configurable features for the countries which were available at that time. During the fall release, right, Dynamics 365 for operation, we extended this functionality. We have over 160 features configurable right now. So it's about 25% of, it's still a journey, right? It's 25% of regulatory functionality is configurable. What is interesting, our statistics shows during the like 4 or 5 months which we have after releasing Dynamics 365 for operations, more than 50% regulatory changes, they actually went into this area. So more than 50% of the changes what we did there, we just did configuration, which is a good result. So basically we were focusing on the areas which are changing most of all. We also introduced, it was a popular ask, we introduced not only configurable export, but also configurable import. Right now, for example, when you do electronic payments, you can configure them and put into the system. We also introduced reports in Words and PDF. A lot of governments around the world, right, they sometimes publish reports in a different format, most often in Excel, but sometimes even in Word, right? And in PDF. And also we, because very often you want to send these reports after generation into certain email address, so we introduce functionality to make this email address configurable as well, depending on certain conditions. What we plan for this quarter, for the spring release, as we call it, we actually, one of the features, the first feature, supporting multiple versions, it's already there, right? So we released it, I think, a month ago. We will do payment import from XML. Right now we can do it only from a text file. We can do, you can use images in Excel and Word templates, right? This additional feature. And also you can do format updates based on Excel template changes, right? Right now you need to change it in 2 places, but after this, I think it will make some this type of changes easier. And obviously, what we are doing over a period of time, we are extending coverage area. So the more and more areas will be made configurable. So what we want to do, we want to show you, probably some of you already saw this product. I would like to introduce Mikhail Filatov, who is principal engineering lead in our team and also our localization architect. So to show you the demo.
Hi guys, do you hear me well? Okay, just a quick show of hands. How many of you have seen GR and like tried to use GR? Can you please raise your hands? Oh, quite a significant amount of guys. That's really good. And just again a reminder, right? So we'll have another session today. It's like last session, like at 4:45, right? And we will be talking in more details about GR, GKey, some our configuration services we are planning to release this calendar year. So you can go there and we'll do more detailed, let's say, demos, and we can have more detailed Q&A, right? Whatever issues you have, whatever, let's say, have it more like open forum, right? Feedback session as well, right? So today I will be doing just now in this demo, just a very quick demo, just to showcase a couple of features which we did, which Sergey mentioned. So basically, again, I am in this what we call localization configuration or electronic reporting workspace. And basically, as you see already, we have this, yes, as Sergey mentioned, tax configurations, GKey, and reporting configurations is GR, right? So now, again, I'm playing the role of the customer, right, who needs to customize the payment format which they already have and use it to exchange with the bank, right? So, and again, as you see, if you remember, if you saw AX7 LTW, you would notice that the amount of configuration which we have increased like significantly, right? Several times actually. So basically, we have this Contosa report, Contosa payments control report, and I would not go into much detail here, right? I would just show how it works now, and now it's actually done in Excel, so it's Excel expert, basically functionality which we had before. So in order to configure it, I just need to go to method of payment. second. Yeah. I'm going to method of payment, and here I need to set up export format configuration. All the configuration which have the country context, and now in GBSI and GetBit and company, are not limited with country context. For example, SEPA, right, where I saw format we're allowed to use all across Europe. So I need to change this contour the payment control report and just see how it works now. Okay, and I'm generating payments. Basically, again, this one is more or less the functionality which we had before. Okay. And it's generating the file. I can open it. And you see that this is actually an Excel expert. But let's assume that my bank changed the requirements. As they told me, guys, now we want to do it not in Excel, we want to do it in Word, right? And they send me the format, right? And here's the Word format I have. And I need to change it from the Excel to Word. So what I need to do? So I'm going back to my configuration tree. So I already have this DAF configuration. And if I'm going to the format designer, I would see the structure of this Excel report. But actually, if you look at it in more detail, you see it's not actually Excel specific. It's more like document specific, right? You see it has the header, lines like body, right? And the footer summary lines, right? So basically, what I can do and what I already did here, right? I took this Word document and I export this format structure and use the XML mapping tool available in Office actually to link the structure of this report to a specific Word fields, right? So basically do the mapping in the Word document to the structure of the document defined in GR, right? So I did it. So all I need to do now is actually to use a new template. So I'm going, I already have this Excel template. I can just import a new one. So here, this new template. Okay. I'm going back. And now I'm choosing this new template, Word template, instead of Excel template. Okay, voila. It's changing the structure. No, it's not actually changing the structure, it's just validating the structure. It says, okay, you have another one, Excel, do you need to use it? I say, no, it's fine. Just remove it automatically. Okay, so now it's done. And if you go back, you would see that the structure has changed to Word, right? Under this Word document. So now I just need to complete my configuration version. Yeah, I'm completing it. Let's say save Word. Word. And now I can use this new version in my payment generation. Okay? Yes? Yeah. So basically in a Word, right, you have this XML mapping functionality, right? So basically you can map every field here, right, to the tag in the XML document. So basically you just export the structure from GR format, right, And after that, you can just import this file to the Word and do the mapping. This thing is completely standard in the Office, right? So just standard, it's not even a add-on, right? It's just standard functionality, right? You just need any XML file, and you can map any field in the Word to this XML file, right? So, and XML file I got from GR format. Okay, so I need to change status of my lines back to none to regenerate my payments. Okay. So all the thing is the same, right? So no changes here. Okay. Let's generate the file. Okay, so and you see that now I have the format in order, right? So basically, what we wanted to showcase here again, right? So basically, we have this format definition, document definition in GR, right? And now we added this Word and PDF support, and also we have Excel, right? And basically, in many cases, right, you can use one, let's say, GR format definition, right, as a master for different visualization in different formats, right? In this case, Excel, Word. You can also use PDF if needed, right? So depending on your needs, like either it's like government requirements or maybe some functional requirements, you can basically use a lot of work you did in jar. Okay? Yep.
Show once again the mapping.
Okay. You still want to see the map? Yeah, this one. Again.
Back? We switch.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. We switch back.
In your format design.
You want to see it in format design? Okay. Just let me come back here. For example, I go to new version.
Maybe we should explain a little bit more how the format design works. Just sure.
So do you want to see the format structure or mapping itself? Okay. Yep. So basically see that like we have this header and lines, and they're basically just some fields, right? And after this spam lines is actually allows you to have multiple lines, right? So it's like the body with the several records, right? Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And with the transformations, you can actually do data transformations?
Sorry?
With the transformation tab. Is it more like data transformations where a value over here is converted into another value? That's basically what you're doing.
It's basically like.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So the question is what type of transformation it is. Basically, it allows you to take the data from the data model, right, and use different transformation formulas. And you can say that it's transformation to another data, right? Because you can also transform it to another data model now, right? Or you can transform it into the format, but which also some kind of like data, same kind of document. Yeah. So you're right. So can you please say, what is exactly the issue with these additional fields?
So we have like a holding company in the Netherlands, and they have to produce statutory reporting for the Netherlands.
And other countries.
In the same legal entity or company, they also process payments and different transactions
I see.
Belgium.
Oh, I see, yeah.
One
Yeah.
has its own reporting.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, so
Can
basically,
you repeat
yeah,
the question?
yeah. Because so the question was actually how you can have this in one company which has, let's say, Netherlands country context to an ability to execute, let's say, ports for Spain, Portugal, or other. It's I would say that we don't have the complete answer in the sense that, again, we just completed 25% of our configurations, right? But basically, if you talk about GR report, we have the answer, because here, we have this ISO country region codes. So basically, and they are fully configured. Oh, oops, I changed it already. Can you switch it back to 2? Just want to show.
The challenge is getting the data collected, though.
Yeah.
Like master data. So our solution today is to pay a partner to pull like the localization from a Spanish entity into the Netherlands company or whatever. The outputs look like you can probably get where you need it to go. But if you don't have the data to feed it, that's the challenge, right?
No, I think, there are two challenges you mentioned, right? So the question with the data and actually with the functionality, right? Because the challenge which we are aware of, right? So, for example, I'm a Netherlands company, right? But also I need to do, let's say, porting for Belgium, right? And basically I can't do it now because like a Netherlands company, I can execute only stuff under Netherlands NL country context, right? So this challenge we are solving with GR. You can go here and configure, let's say, country codes, right, which you would like to execute for this report, right? So, for example, if you release a functionality for Belgium, right, you can add, let's say, Netherlands country context here yourself, right, and got this report for free, right? But the issue you mentioned, like if you still have, let's say, fields which are under Spain, right, or Belgium country context which you use, it's still the same. We are working on this. We have some ideas on how to solve it, but for now, it's still the same.
So you have a timeline to solve that issue?
No, not yet. Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know. I think that basically this one is like, if we talk about the GKey, right, tax engine, they have quite an interesting approach how to, let's say, actually extend master data, right, with a specific, let's say, tax information, right? And we are looking into the way to use the same approach going forward, right? But it's not a small refactoring, you can guess, right? So I think we have a solution more or less. The problem is that we are not sure when we would be able to implement it, right? So because it's a lot of refactoring here.
I think we follow up on this. We probably need to go further, right, in the presentation. We have a separate session where just about JAR and GT tools at, I think it's 4:45 today. I think it's in this area as well. So, and I suggest we go through more details there, right? So I think you can go. Sorry for that, some technical issues, but I think let's go forward. We also, when you ask questions, we need to repeat the question because the session is recorded. So what I need to switch actually back a little bit. So what I want to show as well, because we have different, I would say, reports or report solution in our system. And there is a electronic reporting, what we just show you, have a specific place in this, like a variety of report solutions, because we are addressing global regulatory requirements, usually which happen in electronic format or in different type of format like Excel or Word. We have different type of other solutions in the system, right? Embedded chat control used for built-in experiences, operational type of reports, SSRS document reports used for business documents and high volume printing, and financial management reporter used for financial type of statement. And we also obviously have Power BI, which we use for data exploration and built-in analytical views. So let's move to the next area. I mentioned that we have two tools. One is generic electronic reporting, another one generic tax engine. Actually, it's built on the same technology, right? But it's extension of GER, which allows you to handle more complex calculations and also can do some other things. For example, it can allow you to save documents in a database. So tax, we started to address tax because obviously tax is one of the biggest area. But we started to address tax from India localization because India, one of the biggest localization we have, and also 90% of India localization is about tax. In addition to this, India usually, we have a lot of regulatory updates every year from India. And this year, India government finally introduced a new tax law, which is goods and services tax, or India GST, which originally was planned from 1st of April. Introduction right now, it's moved to 1st of July, right? It's a deadline. Government, like actually a constitutional deadline for this, it's I think middle of September, right? So there is a possibility it will be delayed, but I think there's the government working hard to meet this 1st of July deadline. And also, in addition to this, our partners and ISVs in India, they usually do some customization or localization for certain states in India or for certain industries which we don't cover. So we started working on this with GT, and we released private preview of GT in the fall release. And we want to show you another quick demo. And I would like to introduce Rake, who is our principal engineering manager based in actually Shanghai. And he also runs our Asia-Pacific team in this region as well. So, Rick.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Is my voice okay? Okay. Yeah. So actually, I have two demos. So the first part is I want to do a demo based on the configuration on existing Indian tax, not GST, existing Indian tax. So we are actually using the same tools. I think Mihal already talked about using this tool to configure the reports. We're actually using the similar tools. You will have using the same tool to do the configuration for the tax. So here, what you can see, I have a tax Indian. That is based on the existing Indian tax. So if you go to the designer, if you're familiar with Indian tax, you will be able to see. You see like a custom duty, excise duty, central sales tax, VAT service tax, TDS, TCS, those are existing Indian tax system, right, regime. And probably India is the most complicated country for the tax system. This is one of the reasons why Indian government wants to raise the GST to make it simple, right? So this is based on the older one. So most central sales tax and the VAT is the most simple tax from a technical logic perspective, is the most simple tax in the Indian. If you go with the central sales tax, people may know why I do a transaction, why I need to apply with the central sales tax. That mostly if you do like an interstate transaction, then central sales tax will be applied because this is a federal, more like a federal level tax. And the VAT is more like a state level tax. So if you're doing a transaction within the state, then the VAT will be applied. So the GT, the configuration engine, allow you to configure those kind of business rule to adopt those kind of things in your system. So if you go to the central sales tax, you go to lookup, you can see there are the tables here. So the table is defined as those conditions when this kind of central sales tax will be applied. For example, you can see the intrastate. Yeah, if the intrastate is yes, that means you're doing a cross-state transaction, then that's a central sales tax will be applied. Of course, you also need those kind of CST register number either from your partner, business partner, from your supplier, or those things should be coming from your company CST register number. So you're doing a combination of the condition to determine when those kind of tax are going to be applied. So if you go to VAT, you can see they're actually little more complicated, but the same story. Interstate is no. That means all the transactions should happen within the state, then the VAT will be applied. So this changes the whole law about the existing tax system. The tax system is you need to manually select the right tax group, tax group, then the tax will be applied correctly, right? So you have to do lots of combination of things. But this tool try to let you use the nature of the business to define those kind of applicability, right? So besides those things, we also have the functionality like if you go to a central sales tax, this is the component under this tax type. For the CST, there's only one component. There's the formulas. Formula, of course, that means you are able to decide how you want to calculate tax. So if you look at the CST, you can see the base amount is a little complicated because base amount should include excise duty. So if your transaction have to be applied with excise duty, then CST should be applied on top of excise duty, right? So you can configure those based on the logic. And you can have also like a posting. You can see here we have two different posting. Now, for this one, it actually is we put it as a purchase invoice. Mostly this is on the AP side, right? So in this transaction for the CST, because CST don't have a concept about the deduction, so it's nothing about the recoverable. The tax should go to the expense. If you go to the VAT, you will see a little different because VAT has more complex about the posting story. So first, you will have some kind of recoverable story for your AP side, right? So all those things previously, you need to have changed some kind of code to achieve that. Either by release those things by localization, by Indian, or you have to do some customization. But now we are able to achieve those things all in the configuration. So you can do for applicability, calculation, accounting, and also we have the configuration for the settlement as well. We'll not show that for this demo. So basically, that covers all the tax major requirements. So then, based on those configuration, we are able to perform that in the transaction. So this is the purchase order, right? So for this purchase order, if you go there and you can see, if I click text document, so basically text document shows the result of the whole document for the tax calculation result, right? VAT is applied. Why VAT is applied is basically, if you go to this transaction, you can see, so because it's an intrastate, is actually no. So this is the logic is coming from here. So if we're going to change the tax information on this transaction, and you see here the goods is shipping from Bangalore. So actually, if you change it to another state, to a warehouse, when that's another warehouse, which I have, that's a Delhi. Okay. And if I go to here again, to look at the text. Yeah, so central sales tax would actually be selected and be applied automatically. So the system is based on your nature of transaction to determine that instead of let the people to select tax group and item tax group. And because of limitation of today's tax group and item tax group is only coming from party and item, right? Then usually you only can get the nature from those two items. But in our case, anything you on the transaction, you should be able to use that for your logic configuration. Yeah, that's my first demo.
Can you show a slide?
Sure.
No, don't switch.
Can I ask a question until you...
Yeah.
Sure.
So every time that you ship new functionality around any the globalization, what is your readiness plan? Do you guys ship like specific readiness with regards to each one of these, or is that something in the plan?
When you're talking about readiness, you're talking about new functionality we ship in new releases, or more like regulatory updates?
Let's say that India taxes, right? If I would like to learn more about this and become an expert so I can help my customers, right?
All right.
So is it always like you ship the functionality and somebody else worry about the readiness, or you worry about the readiness as part of developing that and then ship it out?
So the question about when we ship new functionality like GT, right, and India GST, right, what kind of readiness? So I like.
Yeah. So that's a good question actually. The question is, say, what kind of readiness support we are going to support when we release the Indian, not just GT but also the GST stuff, right? So I share some information. Is we actually did. Until today, I think that's four actually certain kind of workshop in India already against the Indian GST because of those kind of change. Indian GST is the big one. So November we had one workshop in Indian. February we have another one, and I think in March we have one in Mumbai, another in I think it's Bangalore, the different city in the city. We actually done those kind of workshop sessions. We send through the Indian BG to those people who register with us as customers. So we invite the customer and partner. We already have those kind of workshop. We're looking for maybe more in that cases in future, and also we have those kind of readiness document about how to using the GTE story, all those stuff, right?
Is that available on Wiki or something?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And there are some regular also newsletters, right?
Yeah. So we call EDM. So the BG will help us to send to the market, to the people about things, what's changed, what's going to change. Lots of time the people rely on, this is not correct, but it's actually like the customer rely on the Microsoft to give them when the government will adopt the GST. But that's actually not correct. Microsoft not doing that kind of things, right? But the things you can know is Microsoft really closely working with the market to support those things. We are in India. Those government changes very frequently, and everything could happen. But
Yeah. Okay, I think this. Obviously, the readiness and the amount of work we do for the readiness, it depends on the size of the change, right? Obviously, India GST is a big one, and we do a lot of work. If it's just, for example, simple regulatory update, what we usually do, we publish all regulatory updates on LCS, and actually we inform that not only when we do it, we actually tell the customers and partners so they can see an issue search, LCS issue search, what is coming, when it's coming, right, and what kind of change is coming. So,
to just verify my understanding, any regulatory update, anybody would be able to see it within LCS under issue search?
Correct. Even in advance, right? Not only when we ship it. And obviously when there are some regulatory changes, not maybe they huge like India GST, but big enough or urgent. For example, government sometimes in certain countries, they announce in a short period of time. What we do usually, we organize some sort of usually workshops for partners to inform them about our design so they're getting ready, right? Because it's very, very often the time can be short. So it depends really on the change. Okay, India GST, big thing for us, right? And we have 3 in-market version in India, and we are building solution right now. And the way we decided, there were 2 ways to do this solution. One way, obviously, do changes in code in all 3 versions, right? Which probably will be possible, but we have a lot of limitation both for us and customers who build on top. What we decided to do instead, because we have this GKey engine, we decided to use this engine to configure India GST. And actually, the way we do it, we do configuration in Dynamics 365 operations. It's not in this 2012 and 2002. Then, because it's configuration, it's really XML file, then we move it to one of these 3 versions, and we built a specific runtime which can be run on all this version and execute this, basically this logic which is configured by end user. So we integrated with all the version, and also we obviously keep consistency with existing text. So all the data, master data setup, posted transaction, they are there. All the legacy text engine, report engine is there as well. So you can do all the, whenever it's introduced, you can do all the reports for the existing data as well. So I think what we want to quickly go and show, one more slide. So basically the simple architecture, how it looks right now. Before X2000 Dynamics 365 for operation has jar and GKey. It's part of this, right? And it has 2 parts, configuration itself and runtime. What we did, we keep configuration in Dynamics 365 operation. We actually make it completely independent, like we want to have it run as a service. And we have, so it will be just one tool to configure everything. And then we have a regulatory runtime, which will work with all 4 versions which we have in the market. For X 2009, 12, and R2 and R3, it will be work only for India GST. But potentially, if we have another big change coming somewhere, we might use this approach as well for different areas. So right now, I would like ask Craig, because we are a little bit running out of time, right? Maybe do a quick demo to show you actually how this GKey engine work with R3 version, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this is R3. So on R3, the purchase order, right? Similar things we can do is we create the purchase order, click the text document, we're able to see the magic happens is the text be calculated for the GST. So in GST world, there's 3 major components: IGST, which is usually for those kind of interstate transactions, and SGST, CGST is mostly for state level, but all report to the federal actually at this moment. So this transaction applied with SGST, with CGST, SGST. Why is very clear. If you go to here, you can see the interstate is no, so it's actually within state transaction. So CGST and SGST be applied. And also you can see here is this vendor is actually a professional party yes vendor. Okay, so the reason to look at that is because today the most of the tax calculation to determine for goods is determined based on HSN code for the GST world, right? So because if you look at this transaction, you can see the HSN code is certain kind of this one, and the CGST rate will be applied with 10%. Well, that's possible potential change, right? Let's say government maybe in future introduce a proportional party. The type of proportional party will impact the rate, right? That could be a reason. If you're familiar with AX, you know for those kind of change, if you want to do a regulatory feature change or customization, you have to change the code, right? Change a table, you change a form, change whatever logic to finding that. You have to write the code. Then I will show you how we can do by configuration way to support that without changing code. So let's move to the configuration. Yeah. Here is another. Here is another configuration called Tax Indian GST, what we created as configuration for GST. It's a little different with the previous one, which previous one is for the existing tax system, right? So if you go with the Indian GST, you can see we just configured for custom duty and the GST. The reason I have custom duty here is sometimes for the GST calculation should based on a custom duty value as well. So we had the GST. We have components CGST, SGST, and IGST. Right. So if we go with the CGST with the rate, you should be able to see here there's a table which defines actually the schema of the rate table. So you can go and modify that. Click columns, find the fields here. Professional party. So we add this new field, and I also can change the sequence of that. Okay. Now I have a new configuration. You can see professional party is here, right? New configuration. I just make a save. I'm going to complete this one. So I just want to have a new version. I can see new version, new. I just put a new. Okay. So then I need to export the configuration because I want this configuration file can be used in my X2012 R3 side. Yeah, so you need to have the question is, do the customer need the Dynamics 365 to have to do the configuration? So our approach, we'll talk about it in more detail in the afternoon session, but we can share a little bit here right now. So right now, yes, you need to have a Dynamics 365 box, but we give you as free. It's a dev box. You don't need to get that on the cloud at the product environment because that's only do for configuration. And then later we'll move that into a services. So you even don't need to set up through the LCS, getting those things. Everything is just like you come and you will have a box. You do the configuration. Yeah, we will have a more detailed talk in the afternoon for that part. Okay, so I just download that one. So now I move back to my X2012 side, and what I want to do is I need to load this new configuration to my R3 box. Right. So I configuration, I see there's a directory point to my machine which has a configuration. I click load. My two boxes, one is in US, another box is actually in China. The R3 is in China. That's actually a cross global network. They're doing some kind of sharing. Yeah, so the new configuration actually loaded. So you can see here, my current version is 113, and the new version is 114. So I needed to apply that one. Okay, so there's a setup. So all the text setup now will be moving to single UI, which is generated automatically based on what you have for the configuration. So you can do lots of setup things here. So today I just want to do it for a CST rate. So you can see actually a professional party column be added automatically. So why I still have other data because previously I still fill in those kind of data without this column, right? So all the data which you entered is be kept. So it's more like an additional incremental update automatically. So now I'm going to change the rate table. So I say professional party no. I need to have yes, right? My new one is yes. I probably change my rate to 8% because usually it's professional parties and the tax rate low. And also can create a new record, which is professional party no, and using the same HSN code. And then probably this is a 10%. I'm keeping the older one, okay. Then I just done. I close that one. Okay, I come to my purchase order side and go to the tax document. I'm going to force a recalculation. Yeah, you can see the new rate is applied. So this is how we achieve those kind of change, government change without making the code change.
So it was, the question was if the text engine is right now for India. We have yes, we are focusing on India right now. We have a private preview in November. So you actually, if you are interested, you can get it, right, from us. So currently for this spring release time frame, we are doing this for in-market version, right? So we integrated it with the 3 in-market version in India, and we are releasing it for India GST. In the fall this year, we release it for India as well, right? But it will be made, it's made available for other countries as well, but we will not replace tax in other countries yet with this. Because there are actually a lot of places in AX where you need to integrate tax. It's like over 100 places. So we just did integration for India, but we will be extending. So going forward, probably next calendar year, we will be over a period of time introducing it for more countries as well. And
do you have any idea which countries?
I think Russia, one of the countries. I'm just sharing plans, right? Because we will be delivering Russia, right, in 2018. Russia is a interesting country for us to start with. Another one is we are looking at Brazil as well, because Brazil has a lot of change plus tax books, right? So we want to, and tax rules in Brazil is different they have 27 states and they have like 5,000 cities, right? And the tax rules are different there. So I think we probably will focus on these, I would say, regulatory heavy countries first, and then we basically go from there. So? Say it again, sorry? Yeah, in Europe, I think the tax is not that, no, but Europe, we will take after that, right? So we'll look at this. But also one of our goals, we want to provide these tools to our ISVs and partners who are doing these regulatory updates for other countries, right? So, I mean, we cover this, but we want to make that it works for them, and we are working with a few partners for example, in Latin America, where we cover only 2 countries, right? Brazil and Mexico, right? So we want to, provide more functionality.
You can see even Indian, sorry, I'm going to add one comment. If you see Indian today, the existing GST and the GST and the existing tax system are totally different. But we just use the same tool with different configuration. So that's an opportunity for future.
Right. So you have a question?
Where is Brazil on your roadmap? Is it a 2018 roadmap?
No. The question was, where is Brazil on our roadmap? For Dynamics 365 for operation, Brazil is released already in the fall. But it's old, it's a text, and we have actually textbooks. We have a good functionality there, right? We just, over a period of time, we want just to make it more configurable, right? But Brazil is there. Brazil is available for Dynamics 365 for operations. So. Okay.
Yeah. So this looks very similar to a framework. So what's stopping us taking this framework and creating our own conditional rules to apply to whichever jurisdiction? Do we have to wait for your localization to come out?
Yeah, for instance, Argentina, is another example.
No, as soon as we release it, yeah, you can do it, right? It's available for you. We want you to do, in certain cases, it's better for you to build it on top of our. It's just less work for you, right? So, but if you want to build from scratch, it's,
So this is available from spring?
So jar is available. For example, if you want to do this electronic reporting or different type of reports in Excel, it's available. So you can. Tax engine is, we will make it available in the fall release, right?
And then we can use it for any jurisdiction.
Right. Yeah. But again, for fall release, there are like more than 110 transactions where tax engine should be integrated in AX, right? For India, we need just half of this transaction. So we integrate half of this transaction, right? So, but this is their main transaction. So there will be some limited integration, but which probably covers like 80-90% of your cases. So there will be some. But we plan to extend this integration to have a full coverage later on. But engine as itself is available. So, yeah, let's go to, we have a few minutes left, So in terms of roadmap for GT, I think this is what I discussed. So we have private preview for India, right, released. If you are interested, welcome, right? Right now we are focusing on India GST for in-market version. If you have your subsidiaries in India, right, obviously, the information is available. You can join the workshops, right? What also we do, as I explained, we are separating configuration and runtime, right, to make it like one configuration tool and can run on any version. We are releasing it for India. For the rest of Dynamics 365 for operation, we have a private preview, right, in the spring release. At the end of the year, we release this, we call it regulatory configuration service as a tool for, we replace like the tool which we have in each version right now with this one configuration tool, which will be a common service, right, which simplify a lot of things. And we release GTE specifically for India in the fall release, and then we will be extending for other countries, and we discuss a roadmap about this. Then, so it's a lot of time we spent on configurable regulatory functionality. Obviously, it's a big block. In terms of discovery and watch services, I mentioned that we actually, on discovery side, we have a LCS issue search where we publish all our updates, incoming features, and also what we released. There is also the APQC library, this BPM library, which you can go, actually you can see our all localization features, regulatory features classified using APQC classification. So if you want to have a full picture for multiple countries, you can go there. And what also we do for multiple countries, we set up, we call it localization community. So we have a service where people can go and submit. If they hear that legislation changes, they can submit the alert, and our team, our program management team, they will look at this and submit the response about what's happening, if you have these plans to introduce this functionality or not. So right now, we go to the third component, it's Dynamic Translation Service. I would like to introduce Patrick Jelle, who is our Director of Dynamics International Engineering and Translation.
Okay, so hi everybody. Who is familiar with the translation service using Who knows about the translation service already on Dynamics 365? Okay, so a few people, great. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of this service. So this is a free service that is available on LCS, and this is available to ISV and partner, working on Dynamics. Really, the goal is to improve the translation experience for our Dynamics products, both for the UI and for the product itself, so you can localize Dynamics 365 for operation any language you want. We don't do Korean, at Microsoft, so someone in Korea can produce a Korean version. And also you can translate your solution using the service, okay? So it leveraged two technology we have at Microsoft. One is the Microsoft Translator Hub, and I will talk a little bit more about how this leveraging is happening, and a multi-language editor. That's the free editors we give you to pretty much review and edit your file if you wish to do so. So it's, like I mentioned, you support all Dynamics products. I own translation and terminology for all Dynamics, including CRM, NAV, GP. So we support, AX, the previous version and the new versions. And it really goes, back to our interaction with you guys. For a few years, we asked what can we improve in the translation space for Dynamics. And the two things that, came coming back was really we need the better, translation tooling, to translate the products and the solution. And one key ask also was to have access to an linguistic asset. We have been localizing AX for many years, and we produce, like Sergey said, for Dynamics AX, only 41 languages. So we have a wealth of translation memory that now, through that service, we are sharing with you for free. Okay. So we released the service in mid-December. And there is three, I would say, in LCS, the interaction with LCS is different between CRM, NAV, and AX. So for AX, Dynamics and AX is, GA. For CRM and customer engagement, it's private preview. And for NAV, it's a public preview. But all the three, experiences are available through LCS. And just to give you a little bit of where we stand with the usage, between the end of November when we went in preview to yesterday, I just pulled the number of yesterday. I'm going to show you the next slide, actually. We show you a little bit more details. You can see we have processed 291 requests from 73 ISV partners, and they produce 62 languages from 22 source languages. So people sometimes think, we always translate from English to another language. And that's not true. Some people are, starting from French and they will translate in English and any language. So that's a pretty good, example of the how this service is used. And you can see the green box, it's kind of small, but the vast majority is for Dynamics operation, okay? So let me go to a little bit of the workflow. So the whole process is automated, and I will give you a demo of that, service. But basically, the only thing you have to do, in a nutshell, is to upload your files that you wish to be translated, submit a request, and voila. The service is going to take your files from there, send them to the cloud service, and then translate them, and then, send them back to you. So there is some conversion I will talk about, but that's pretty much the workflow. So that is the only thing you have to do. Submit your files, create a request, the service taking care of the translation, give you back your files. You can review them. I will show you how to do that. And then, voila. So that's pretty quick, and again, it's free. So let me show you the demo. So the first time you connect, remember, you have to go through LCS. So you have to create a project for Dynamics 365 for operation, for example, and that's what I'm going to show you. You end up in this, when you click on the localization translation icon, you end up in this dashboard. So I am an admin, so I can see all the requests. But the first time you will connect to the service, this one will be blank. And this is your own space. We don't share anything with any partners. So you have your own instance. And you can go back to your instance if you quit, or leave, LCS. And we are not sharing your translation with anyone. So this pretty, the privacy is very important for us. So it's pretty easy. Like I said, you just create a request. And you get to that stage. So I already, for the sake of time, pre-populated a request. So you just need to name your request, and then, type of project you want to call your project. Then this one, like I said, is for Dynamics 365 for operation. I'm targeting this market, France, but you can see you can pick any market you want. And then you pick your, source language of the file you wish to be translated. Okay, like, I'm taking English. And no bias, I'm picking French for the target language. So you can see there is a little comment. So we display the languages that are available commercially in bold, the language we ship, at Microsoft. And then we display only the list of languages where, the product is made available. Okay, so just a detail. But Pretty much we are available in 140 countries, so pretty much discover the entire world and beyond, I would say. Okay, so just to show you a little bit the file format, So in Dynamics 365 for operation, the source files are in TXT format. So I'm going to localize, this 4 files that you see here. And you need to zip them first. So you need to compress those 4 files into zip files. That's what I did in Patrick's source. So if I export this one, you can see, the file. And that's pretty much what I'm going, after I create the request here. So you can see at the top, there is a workflow that tells you where you are in the process. So I am ready to upload my files. If I go back to the dashboard, you will see it tells you that, you're at the upload stage, and I will show you later, So I'm going to upload, the zip file I just show you. And then, sorry, I have an issue with my mouse here. Okay, so you have 2 options here. You can upload your source file, that's a zip file I show you. If you have previous translation, you want to leverage as well. The service allows you to upload those translations to pretty much add, additional translation to the MT hub. Okay, so pretty much you can leverage your previous translation. Okay, so I'm going to show you the first one because it's faster, and then I'm going to pick the zip file I just show you, which is Patrick's source here, and then you can enter a description here, or whatever you want, demo, and then I upload, the zip file. Okay, so you can see now, I'm ready to submit, that zip file to be translated, to the service, what I'm going to do now. Okay, and each stage pretty much tells you what is happening here. And this sends you back to the dashboard, okay? At the same time, and I'm going to show you, so you can see at the top, that's pretty much the request I just created, and this is currently processing, so it shows you the status of your request. You get also an email. I'm going to show you that email. It's here. Sorry. You see, that's the one that just generated for the service. So you get an email telling you, okay, you have created a request. This is, currently being processed. And each stage of the workflow, you will get a different email until completion. So let's go back to the service. And I'm going, so still processing. I'm going to show you one I just completed, before, just to show you what you get in the end. So pretty much, you can see the status is completed. If I look at the output, that's pretty much the result. So that's a 4 file, the same file I just translated. And then you get the result. So one thing I didn't mention is the translation is happening in this file format you see XLIF. So what we do, we take the TXT file, the service does that automatically, converts them to XLIF. And that's where the translation is happening. And then the service, once the translation is done, will convert the XLIF file back to the original format, which is TXT. So you get the 2 files. So if I look at this one, and this is where you are going to see the multi-language editor in action, that pretty much allows you to review your translation, and you can see, believe me, it's in French here. That's pretty much where you can edit. So if you want to edit that file, you need to save that file locally, and then you can make any change you want. If you're not happy with one translation or you want to make any other changes, you just make the change. And then if you look at the bottom of this page, you have regenerate. So I'm going to pretty much, assume that I edited the file you just saw. I'm going to pick up, and you need to rezip that file into the file. Okay, and I'm going to upload it. And you can see this is immediate. I made a change, and then the change has been, the TXT file has been regenerated. So if we go back to the main dashboard, and I do a little refresh here, you see it's already completed. So that's pretty fast, okay? So that's a little bit in a nutshell what I wanted to show you about the service. So again, this is free on LCS. You can see the usage is pretty high, so people like it. We are, we keep improving every month. We improve the user experience. We add a little feature. We improve, error messages. So we are going to keep, make it better. And again, it supports, all Dynamics products. So in terms of roadmap, to go back to the roadmap, so that's, I mentioned this has been live since, 2016 H2. We're also working on a feature that, will allow you to add a language to Dynamics 365 for operation. You can a little bit do that, but there is, the end-to-end scenario is not totally finite. For example, we have, we know the GKey device is not, right now localizable, but we are working on it. So just in terms of resources, so if you are not familiar with the MT Hub, the app toolkit I just mentioned, and also how to add a language in 2012 and Dynamics 365 for operation, that's the resources you will find in your deck. Okay?
Can we get presentation? So we have a couple of minutes left. So the fourth component is basically we provide a lot of tools and we talk about a little bit global ecosystem, right? If you click on the next slide. So I mentioned at the beginning of our session that we have globalization from Microsoft. What we deliver, we have, you saw a few tools and services, what we provide for regulatory functionality and for tools. We also, over a period of time, we are increasing our configuration coverage. I mentioned it's 25%, but we will be doing more. That's our target is 75%. Actually, we are working with ISVs and partners around the world and helping them to curate their solution, right? And publish them on AppSource. There are not that many solutions right now published, but if you go to AppSource and you search localization, you can see the solution. We have solution for Vietnam, we have solution for Portugal, and we have some additional components, localization components for Italy. We provide localization for Italy, but there are some more localization is added. So this is just for your reference. This is overall roadmap. We went through this during our presentation, and we mentioned that we have a couple of related sessions. This afternoon in Skagit 3, we have a session where we go deeper into the configurable localization with more detailed discussion and going deeper into the tools, and you're welcome to join this. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., together with our financials team, we have a Q&A session. Basically, ask the expert session. We will be there. If you think about new questions, right, by tomorrow morning, you can come and ask this question as well. So that's it. I don't think we have time for additional questions, right? But you can come to us. We have a lot of questions during the session. So any? Yeah, okay. Which slide?
Currently on the D365 app.
These aren't published on the library, so we can't download them.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah. There are this solution on AppSource, right? You mean for different countries?
Just for your slide deck.
No, right there, the slide
slides
deck.
that you just presented.
Oh, yeah. It should be there, right? It's not there? Oh, not there.
So you're saying that session materials, they're not there yet.
Okay. So we'll fix it, right? We'll fix it as soon as possible. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.